Welcome into another week of the Futility Rankings. I'm Adam, he's Joe. It's week 5, and some teams off the list by earning their way off, some teams off the list because of technicalities. So Jets fans get a break this week.
Yeah, definitely get a break this week. It just helps you get a bye so you're off the list. But definitely expect the Jets to be back on there next week. But we're going to give them a break just because they had the bye.
We got a dishonorable mention as well. We were both kind of putting this list together, and it's kind of weird because they've been decent, and they have a former MVP quarterback, but Matt Ryan's 8 touchdowns, not a great ratio with 7 turnovers, 6 of those coming off interceptions, and the Falcons have a -6 turnover margin. Really hard to score when you can't keep the ball.
It's incredible. You haven't seen the same Falcons team since they were up 28-3 on the Patriots in that Super Bowl. I don't know why they can't figure it out on offense. It's that classic example of a team looks great on paper, and then when push comes to shove and they play the games, they just can't figure it out. It's extremely frustrating because they have all the talent in the world on offense, but just can't produce anything. I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
Well, do you want to go ahead and get us started off with number 5?
Number 5 on the list. All the teams in the rankings this week still haven't won, but at least this team did have a tie. We're going with the Arizona Cardinals, who are 0-3-1 on the season and had a miracle comeback in week 1 just to get that tie. What do you think of the Cardinals so far this season, Adam?
Well, I was watching that game against Detroit, and it looked like they were getting it together. It looked promising. I don't think they're absolutely horrible. I mean, I still like Larry Fitzgerald. I still really like David Johnson, and I like Kyler Murray's future. But here's the problem. Kyler Murray has been sacked a league high 20 times. He's been hit 30 times. And the Cardinals have actually lost 134 yards off sacks alone. And on defense, it's just horrible. They're letting up almost 420 yards per game. And so I don't hate their future, but I hate their present.
Yeah, the president is great, and I'm actually not that hopeful for the future. I do like Kyler Murray. He's looked great so far, but Cliff Kingsbury, I just still don't understand the hire. Had a losing record at Texas Tech, then goes on to get USC's offensive coordinating job, which he held for like a month, and then gets hired as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. He's not qualified to have the job that he has right now. I don't understand how he has it, and I don't think it's going to work out in the future, and the Cardinals are just going to stay in this pit of misery.
And number 4, another team that, well, they almost got 2 wins. So you can make the argument that they're better than the Cardinals, but still no wins yet for the Broncos at number 4.
Yeah, the Broncos. I mean, they have had some heartbreaking losses so far this season. The first win is coming. It's going to be coming soon. But you got to feel bad for Vic Fangio in his first year there, 0-4. But also, they kind of did it to themselves. They have a great defense there, which hasn't been up to snuff as it usually is. But you got Joe Flacco as your quarterback on the other side. We talked about this last week. Really no hope for the future at the quarterback position. I just don't understand the plan, and it keeps on getting proven week in and week out. There's just no direction there in Denver, and they just continually keep losing football games. It's not good as they sit 0-4 so far in the first quarter of the season.
They're only getting 17.5 points per game. Maybe if you score more points, it won't come down to that, but the -5 turnover ratio is not going well. I listen to a lot of sports radio, and the local media is eating this team alive. You mentioned the defense hasn't been horrible. They finally got their first sack last week, but now Bradley Chubb is out with a torn ACL. There's been rumors swirling about the potential trade of Von Miller, who's been underwhelming. It's not looking good in Denver, but I do believe you're right that they're going to be able to get off at least a win and maybe eventually off the list.
I mean, they've been heartbreaking, obviously. Last week, you just got to step up and make a play there and can't let Jacksonville come down the field. And they had a nice advantage there in the first half and just completely blew it too. So Denver comes in at 4 on the futility rankings this week. Want to go with the next one there, Adam?
Yeah, let's hop right in there. We're recording this on Tuesday, and last night we were joking that either the Steelers or the Bengals were going to be on this list, and it's pretty clear that it's the Bengals. Just just horrendous, just awful.
I just don't understand because they gave Buffalo and they gave Seattle both runs for their money, and I was defending it. And Adam was like, oh, this is Steelers all the way. I said, just hold on. Let's see. The Bengals might be able to just be in the game with Pittsburgh. Well, obviously, that didn't happen last night. It feels like everybody wanted to get that Sean McVay for their team, and they got Zach Taylor, and it doesn't look like it's working out so far. The biggest thing, not to say that they exactly to win football games, but that offense is just producing nothing. And that's the reason why he got hired as the head coach. So as a Bengals fan, you got to be sitting there like, I kind of miss Marvin Lewis. I don't think they do, but you wouldn't be 0-4 with Marvin Lewis.
3 touchdowns, and you're just eating the clock. I mean, that was the big fire alarm in my head watching the game last night from the Bengals' point of view is you need a sense of urgency when you're trailing multiple scores heading into the fourth quarter, and they weren't moving the ball. And, the numbers don't lie. They are averaging under 50 yards rushing per game. Only the Redskins are the partner in that horrible category. -5 turnover differential and just 14.3 points per game as of last night. Also, Andy Dalton's getting eaten alive. The Red Rifle has been sacked 19 times.
Unbelievable. It's just Zach Taylor's brought in for offense, and that's not what happened so far. It's early in his career, but not a great start. So let's go on to number 2 here, and we'll go with the Washington Redskins. Adam, what do you think of the Redskins so far this season? What a nightmare.
Ooh, very bad at sports, Joe. Very bad at sports. -52 point margin.
I was about to say.
Come on, guys. And they're like I mentioned, they're averaging under 50 rush yards per game, 49.7. They've allowed the second most points. And good news for Dolphins fans, if you're in the silver linings, Dwayne Haskins is now the worst quarterback in football, technically. A QBR of 32.8, 3 interceptions to just 5 first downs in his debut. Nowhere to go but up.
Well, you talking about Haskins, let's talk about that. The most Redskins thing ever. Did they give him the ball at the beginning of the week? So you're our starting quarterback? No. They give him the ball at the beginning of the second quarter. They didn't give him halftime to adjust. They just throw him into the game and say, figure it out, kid. And it obviously didn't go well. I don't know what they're doing there. It's like they have no idea, and they just go by the seat of their pants on every single decision. And that's how you ruin your players, and that's how you get the players mad within the organization. I mean, just unbelievable. You don't have an advantage anyway. Then you're just going to throw him out there to the Wolves in the middle of the game. Just makes no sense.
I do think that he'll be substantially better with the return of Terry McLaurin, who he specifically told the Redskins, go draft my guy, college teammates, their best wide receiver. I think that rapport will help them at least get a few more than 5 first downs. But right now, there's a reason they're at that number 2 spot.
Should we go on to number 1 then?
Yeah, I don't think it's any surprise here. Take it away.
It's got to be the Miami Dolphins. They might just hold this for the rest of the season. Who knows?
I think they will.
Another ugly performance from the Dolphins at home. Get crushed by the Chargers. You just got to feel bad. I don't even know what else to say every single week. They have no talent whatsoever. Obviously tanking, which we can debate if the tanking is actually going to work, or if it's going to work in the NFL. I'm not sure. But this Dolphins team is an absolute nightmare. And in being here in Miami, there's stories about how fans are getting ripped off for beer. Somebody got 2 beers and got charged $750. It's a mess. Every single part of the Dolphins.
That kind of sounds like Soldier Field beer prices, though.
One, yes, but also they should pay their fans to come to the games. Not overcharge them for beer. It's unbelievable. It's just so bad. I do feel bad for Josh Rosen. He's been in 2 terrible situations so far in his career, and it may just ruin him for the rest of it.
Yeah, and a theme on today's little segment has been protecting the quarterback, and the Dolphins are doing a horrendous job at that. Rosen and Fitzpatrick, the Dolphins quarterbacks, whatever you want to call it, they've been hit 40 times. That's a league high. it's really hard to move the ball, really to do anything when the Dolphins quarterback is consistently in the shark tank, if you will. They got a -7 turnover margin. I think a lot of that has to do with it. And hey, at least they're only allowing 40 points per game now. That's at least a little better than last week. But they're allowing 175 rushing yards per game, man. Are you facing Barry Sanders every week? What is going on? And then on the offensive side of the ball, they're only averaging 6.5 points per game. That is literally less than a touchdown and a point after attempt. What are you doing, Miami? Please, please. You're not going to get off the list, but just get it together.
One funny thing about the Dolphins, 2 straight weeks now, early in the first quarter, they've had the lead on both the teams that they played, the Cowboys and the Chargers. And a little bit in the back of my head, I go, ooh, is this the week? Is this the week the Dolphins get off the schneid? And then 20 minutes later, they're down by 27 points.
Just horrendous. Well, I mean, that pretty much wraps us up. Any closing thoughts? Looking ahead to week 5.
I think that's it. Obviously, the top of the list with the Dolphins and the Redskins will welcome the Jets back next week. But I think that bottom of the list, we're going to see new teams every single week. The Steelers are off. The Cardinals are on. I can see a lot changing as we progress throughout the season.
I could see the Falcons flying in to join us
They're
next
knocking
week.
At the door. We just need to open it for them.
Well, it's been real, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thank you.